Hey, welcome back. I want to provide a quick visual reference for a tip and trick that I have when you can't find out what a reference arrow is referring to. Let me explain the problem and show you how I usually handle it, and then hopefully you'll be able to do this the next time this problem comes up. So over here in Smooth POV, I've got a very simple Logix setup. It just takes this cube here, this box, and it's aiming to name it potato. This is completely arbitrary. It usually comes up in much more complicated Logix, but it does allow me to show you what's going on. Let's say this was part of a complicated system, and I'd packed away the Logix and I'd renewed it or something like that. I'd unpacked it, and this interface card had completely vanished. It's just gone. And I'm like, okay, I know I'm setting the slot name of a slot, but I don't know what this slot is. There's actually a way to sort of interrogate one of these, which is called a reference node, and to find out what it's referring to. And I want to show you how this works. This works particularly well with slots, as you can easily find out and get an inspector for the slot it's referring to. It's a little bit more tricky with things like values or references, but the principle is the same, so let's go ahead and do that. So grab a developer tooltip, point it at the reference node here, that's just the arrow part, and hit secondary, and you'll inspect it with Open Inspector. You'll see that you're on a canvas. This is just the UX canvas that's part of the node. Hit up, you'll go to this visual slot, hit up one more time, and you'll see this slot called ref. You can select this node called ref, and what you'll see here is a reference node component with the data type to the right here. This should match the data type of the color that you're looking at. So in this case, it does, it's green. But what you'll see here is there's a field here called ref target. And in this case, it says slot on box. And so what this immediately tells me is, that arrow, it refers to the box. I have now, discovered what's going on here. So what I can now do is I can go ahead and hit the right angle up arrow here on the ref target. And what it will do is it will then pop open an inspector for the slot that it's referring to. And I've now demystified that reference node, and I know what it's referring to. This can get more complicated. For example, if you're referring to, let's do a button, for example. So if we had a button, so object neo-CY button, and we pull out an interface for this. If you're not sure what's going on here, do check a link in the video description, which takes you to a video on how to get a event from a button. What we're doing is just recreating that setup so that we can, again, show how to identify what's going on here when the interface card is missing. So here I've created a button events handler, and I have now deleted the interface, and it's like, what's going on? Which button is hooked up? I mean, in this case, I can just hit the button, but let's say you've got like 20 buttons and you're not sure. Again, we're going to aim at the reference card here, hit secondary, open inspector, go up a little bit, keep going up, you'll see visual, and then you'll see ref. And then when you see ref, you'll see reference node I button, and again, you'll see reference target. You can hit that right angle up arrow, and you'll be on a slot which refers to exactly where it is. If you're still confused, or it's a really complicated slot that's got a lot of components on it, you can use the button to the right of that right angle up arrow, which is the straight up arrow. What that'll do is it will pop a single component inspector for you, and in this case it's going to show you what the button is doing. And then for a button, for example, here, what I might do is go ahead and set the color here. So I'm like, red. And now say I had thousands of buttons and I was trying to figure out which button this arrow is referring to. I'll be like, it's the red one, and then I can go ahead and adjust my Logix. I hope this was helpful. Do let me know if you have any questions on interrogating these reference cards. You can also do this with the drive nodes as well. I'll have to do that in a different video if it comes up, because usually those will spawn an interface for you when they're unpacked, but the reference card nodes won't. So there you go. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.